These are people who are so severely mentally ill, they are found to be incompetent to stand trial.
The person needs to be able to understand why they're being locked up.
What needs to change in the system? How many others are like him that are stuck?
Hello, thank you for joining us for this KXAN Investigative special. I'm Josh Hinkle.
And I'm Arzo Dost. Every year, thousands of mentally ill men and women languish in Texas County jails. Incapable of standing trial, they wait in line behind hundreds of other people, sometimes over a year, for a bed at a state hospital just so they can get the help they need.
As the state's population booms, its leaders realize this problem is also growing, but so far their efforts to shrink the backlog have failed. In 2019, the number of people on this wait list with their cases stalled and constitutional rights possibly violated reached historic levels.
These are the stories of families caught up in this broken system and the state's struggle to look for a solution for the future.
Do you need police, fire, EMS?
Police.
He'd been delusional the whole time, and it was just progressively worse.
My brother Ben has just chased my mom out the front door, and I think he's going to try to hurt her. You better hurry.
All right, and does he have access to any weapons?
He's got a sword.
He has like a ceremonial sword. The sword was in the scabbard. He didn't have it threatening with me or anything, but it was just that blank stare. Bipolar is like a roller coaster ride, and the schizoaffective is the hallucin parts. I knew that he was having an episode, but I didn't know what he was going to do.
But he was charged that night with what?
Second-degree felony, aggravated assault with deadly weapon.
Should he have gone to jail that day?
No, he needed mental health help.
So when people are arrested and charged with a crime and booked into jail and eventually put in front of a judge, the issue of competency to stand trial can be raised.
When he was in jail in Williamson County,
They diagnosed him as incompetent, like after he was there for 2 days.
And what competency means is the ability to participate in one's own criminal defense. The Sixth Amendment's constitutional guarantee of a fair trial. In order to proceed with that trial, you have to restore that person's competency. The state hospital system is the most common setting where competency restoration occurs.
They put him on the wait list. He was still delusional and hadn't gotten any help, really, so his condition was just getting worse.
People are waiting in jail. In fact, hundreds of people right now are waiting in county jail for access to competency restoration services. The medications that are available in jail and other services that are available in jail don't match what they were receiving in the state hospital system. We're receiving calls at our office very frequently from family members. We're getting letters from individuals behind bars saying, I'm not getting the care that I need.
I called every resource known to man to try to, get him out of there as quickly as possible. And this was when he was there 3.5 months. But if it wouldn't been for me, pushing through all this stuff, he would have been there a lot longer.
Some people are waiting in jail for hundreds of days, especially for maximum security beds for people who are charged with, serious violent offenses.
How did we get to the state where in Texas where there is such a backlog?
We have an aging state hospital system. Some of the facilities were built in the 1800s. So you have buildings that are in disrepair. Over the last 2 legislative sessions, $745 million in new money has been invested in the state hospital system. And that's a big deal. The job is not done. A significant investment is needed in the 2021 legislative session to finish the projects that have already been started.
I know that it was rough on him mentally.
Yeah, I heard voices for a long time.
Yeah.
They finally stopped when I started taking the medication.
And I'm amazed that he's doing as well as he is now. But I wish he could have got help a lot sooner and got the right diagnosis.
I'm finally trying to get my life back on track.
He has problems, don't we all? But, I love him.
I love you too, Mom.
I can't go to sleep at night without, I keep thoughts going through my mind, how can this be resolved?
This is an issue that really kind of lives in the shadows. But I think everyone should care about it. We need to treat these people fairly, humanely, treat it like a public health issue, because that's what it is.
They won't say bye.
Here we are, going into Adon's room, and there's Adon. Hi.
Adon was just like any other kid growing up.
Hey, Adon.
Can't come in my room, it's messy.
Loved sports, played football in junior high and also basketball. I like that picture of him when he was playing baseball. That was one of his birthdays. And he was kind of goofy, just silly, made funny faces, as you can see. So my dad called him his chapulín, my grasshopper. He was very energetic all that time. He also had very good grades. In 2004, he graduated from high school and he decided that he wanted to serve his country. He joined the Marine Corps. He was stationed in Iraq. He was a scout sniper. He saw bombs that exploded just right in front of where he was stationed. He was just surrounded by a lot of death and potential for death. And so when he came back, he was not the same young man that left. He did go to the VA. They gave him medication. That was their solution.
How could you tell something was not right?
He slept all day and stayed in his room all the time, except to go to the bathroom and to get something to drink. He didn't want to do anything. We all knew something was wrong. We all felt something was terribly wrong.
And tell me about the day that the shooting incident happened here.
Around 2011, May of 2011, he shot 23 bullets into our home from the driveway at about 4 in the morning. It was unexpected.
He thinks he's firing warning shots. Bam, 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 bam.
There were pictures that were taken by the police department of all the places that were impacted. Some of them they went through the door. There's some bullets that went here. Up there were bullets that shot here, that went up over by the fireplace. One of the panes in the kitchen got broken.
I mean, I can't believe you guys weren't hit in this whole...
I can't believe it either.
So the police arrive very quickly, and the cop has drawn his gun and tells him, turn around now. Throw it down. That was a very scary moment.
He was picked up by the local sheriff's department and taken to jail.
Adon is indicted with 7 different counts over what he did.
He was found incompetent to stand trial. And so I felt a great sense of relief thinking, oh, finally he's going to get some help. And I waited a couple of weeks and nothing happened. He was still there, so I contacted them. And the person who answered the phone said, well, it'll be 8 months to a year. And I was shocked. And I asked, how could that be? And she said, we just don't have enough beds.
If you're dedicated to restoring these people's health, you don't say, we'll get to you in a year. Just stay in the waiting room. And your waiting room is a jail cell.
And then he waited and waited for a trial that kept getting canceled and reset and canceled and reset. So he was expected to remain competent in jail without medication, without treatment. And then he was incompetent again.
There's a real need to continue the care they were receiving in the state hospital to make sure that they are getting the mental health services and taking their medication to keep them competent long enough to stand trial.
Right. That's right. Ironically, the more serious the case, like murder or capital murder, the longer the delays, the more likely that you're going to find yourself in this loop. I wonder if that's not cruel and unusual punishment, to have this person loop back over and over endlessly.
What ended up happening with the case?
So up until 2031, and every year there is a review by the judge to see how he's doing. He's been on his medication since May. I call him every day.
Hello?
Hey, Don. How are you doing?
Okay. I'm all right. Just working with my doctor. I'm just working with my treatment team. It's okay here. They're working on my discharge. I just got a letter from my lawyer today.
Oh, good.
So hopefully within the next month or two or month and a half or something like that,
okay.
I'm looking at discharge, getting back out there, going to school, and just having a regular life and not being stuck here,
Yeah.
I am going to study for my criminal justice degree and, pursue a career, something like either in mental health counseling.
What can we do now to make things better and to help a young man who's intelligent have that future? Get out there and live his life. What can we do to make that happen?
Turn around. Turn around.
What needs to change in the system to allow that to happen?
Here you go, Adon.
Mental health in jail is an important issue, but there are so many important issues right now that you may be wondering, why investigate this now? Our team actually started researching the problem about a year ago, and we were moving forward to bring it to you. Then the coronavirus hit Texas, and things changed. We quickly shifted our focus to everything from nursing homes and testing to unemployment and stay-at-home orders. But as we were working from home too on these investigations, we've also been working on this project because inmates' access to mental health treatment is a problem that isn't going away, and certainly something we can't forget. Plus, we've been reporting on coronavirus cases in jails and state hospitals. So when we come out of this pandemic, the problem there is likely going to be worse because it hasn't been a main priority for many decision makers during this time. And with the economy struggling and government budgets tightening, funding those services will be a big challenge. Investigating now is our way of letting you know where this issue is and where it's going. And we'll be there too, holding people accountable, sharing these stories, and helping give a voice to those who can't always speak for themselves.
I met Clara when she was homeless. She was 35 at the time. She is Cuban. She had a dark complexion, beautiful woman. But she was actually 5 months pregnant. And she was a drug addict as well as an alcoholic. I'm a mother type person. So I told her I would help her, got her into detox, got her cleaned up. She stayed at my house. And she knew the baby was going to be handicapped in some form.
An Austin man faces murder charges in connection with the stabbing death of a woman.
She went in to buy cigarettes and a Coke. There was a homeless guy leaning against a car right at the entrance. And as she walked by, he grabbed her glasses off her head. And she turned around to confront him.
Police were called to a Texaco near Otorp and I-35 yesterday afternoon to break up a dispute.
He reached into his knapsack and pulled out a knife. She took off running across the parking lot to get away from him. He took off after her.
When they arrived, they found a woman in her 30s had been stabbed.
The man was on top of her, took one swipe on the back of the brainstem.
The woman was pronounced dead later at Brackenridge Hospital.
You want justice to happen.
I do. I think everybody deserves a closure in some form or another. It's kind of hard to find any kind of closure when the guy's in limbo.
I've never seen a person who is catatonic. And I just sat there because it was absolutely amazing to see this guy like become a statue.
What do you do with someone who's been in restoration for 20 years in a state hospital?
That's where he stays. I mean, that's his prison. So everything's locked. You're completely regulated, and you're monitored at all times.
Will there ever be closure in a case like James McMean's?
I don't think so. The only thing that gives me hope is science keeps getting better and better and better at some of these things.
Who's responsible for the problem as it exists today? Is this a legislative problem? Is it a state agency? Who?
I would put the burden on the legislature and the elected leadership of the state. We've neglected facilities like our state hospitals to the point that they're degraded to where now we have to replace them, either because the state failed to keep up with deferred maintenance and they're just crumbling, or because we didn't keep up with science. Now, while I put the blame there, I will tell you that over the last several years, the legislature has done much better in that regard. We need to make additional progress in the continuum of care to support the Austin State Hospital. And we're working now with a piece of legislation, Senate Bill 2111, that I passed during the last session, that calls for the Health and Human Services Commission to work directly with academic medicine, the Dell Medical School, to talk about how we bring them together in a way where we're getting 21st century state-of-the-art brain health care. Where you're hearing it the most is from those who are advocating for people that have brain health issues that are being tied up in the system.
And it's not just the person being detained. The victims in these crimes, they're also denied justice.
Justice delayed is justice denied on both sides of that issue.
You know, the closure for James McMeans is you're in a murder trial. There's no freedom for him. There's no straight up acquittal. Well, they're not going to dismiss. He's going to be prosecuted. If he's competent,
30-year-old James McMeans is charged with first-degree murder.
And this gentleman who killed Clara, it's not fair. I understand what happened. I forgive the guy because I don't believe it was his fault.
It sounds like you're holding out hope that something will happen in this case, and clearly you're taking care of Jonathan still.
I don't talk to Jonathan about Clara.
You took this child in and even learning sign language. So he's completely hearing impaired?
Totally. Profoundly deaf. But Jonathan and I have no problem communicating. I prayed to God that he would send me an army of angels to help me take care of him, to help me raise him to be the best person he was going to end up being. Every time I look at him, I see her. You can still see her eyes in him. At least I can.
If you're accused of a crime, legally, you must be mentally competent to understand and participate in your defense. So if you have a mental illness, it might be necessary to first restore your competency through treatment and medication, and that's often a struggle in the justice system across the country. But in Texas, there are unique challenges. First, we have 254 county jails, more than any other state, and most are in rural areas. Where does Texas fall into this conversation? I mean, are we worse than other states or better than others?
I think we're on the lower end of the spectrum. There simply aren't enough mental health professionals spread around the state.
So most often, inmates needing restoration go to one of a handful of state hospitals for help. But there's a long wait list, something that's forced Texas lawmakers to explore other solutions. Should there be more done in jail to help get people competent?
I think it's a jail-by-jail situation. So you take my small rural communities, there's not resources internally.
State Senator Charles Perry's district includes Lubbock County and its jail. He's helped push funding for that area's local mental health provider to work with inmates inside the facility.
We backed it with funding and we backed it with tools. The telepsychiatry model, I am told, is working really well, where there is actually an intake session with a psychiatrist on the other end.
The state says this is the only mental health authority in Texas using telemedicine, virtual sessions inside jails to help restore competency. Since starting its program in late 2018, 53 inmates have undergone treatment, and so far it's worked. Competency was restored in nearly half of those cases.
The good news is we're still working on it. It'd be a sad day if you came in here and said, what are you going to do about it? I said, we've done all we're going to do. That's just not the case.
Texas lawmakers paved the way for a statewide jail-based competency restoration pilot program back in 2017, but it's yet to get off the ground. Other mental health authorities, though, like the one in Lubbock, have been using legislative grants to launch jail-based restoration programs across the state themselves. Those don't involve telemedicine, and it's too soon to tell whether they've been effective. But mental health advocates say for people with serious and persistent mental illness, jail may not be the best place to attempt this at all.
If you're exposed to the conditions that are seen in county jails around our state, it's going to make your symptoms worse, not better. It's not therapeutic. It's untherapeutic. It's counterproductive. They're going to suffer as a result of that, and it's going to be harder to restore their competency. And ultimately, you still have a person with serious mental illness behind bars who doesn't need to be there, who shouldn't be there.
If jail isn't the most therapeutic option for inmates who need their competency restored, diverting them from the criminal justice system might be the key.
It's a very compelling need. It can be heart-wrenching. It's difficult to see families with members that are mentally ill. It's hard to see people suffer from mental illness.
Getting treatment in the community on an outpatient basis has been the focus in places like Travis County and its mental health court based in Austin.
It started out as an effort to look at cases differently and consider how a person's mental health disorder played a role in the criminal offense.
A judge and attorneys in that court take closer looks at cases where people have been deemed mentally incompetent. They try to decide if a clinic or other services in the community would be more effective for those inmates so they can participate in their defense faster, or after treatment, have their cases dismissed altogether.
Very few counties have this open docket where any individual who is in custody with a mental health disorder is routed to a collaborative process.
Fewer than 7% of Texas counties have a specialized mental health court. The biggest reason why? They require funding and partnerships.
Ideally, diversion is the best option. We don't want these individuals coming to jail. Many of them are coming in on nuisance crimes such as criminal trespass, and they would be much better served in the community. They can be closer to their families, which is more therapeutic. They can be environments that are safer, where they don't have the criminal element.
Data from the state in 2019 shows outpatient programs in Texas have more success at restoration than programs inside jails. What success have you seen?
Often in criminal justice, success is defined by a reduction in recidivism. But we can also define success as connecting someone into treatment who had not been treated previously. The thing that I consider to be a success is that I believe that the outcomes for individuals is more just and more fair by virtue of this collaborative process.
A record number of people are languishing in Texas county jails, locked in limbo, awaiting a state hospital bed for mental health treatment they need in order to stand trial. And now state leaders are grappling with how to tackle this costly crisis. We previously reported the number of inmates waiting in that system hit a record in November of 2019 with 1,017.
It dipped after that for a few months, but by mid-2020, the number was rising again, hitting a new record last December of 1,508, and it remained higher than the previous record in the months to follow.
KXAN investigator Josh Hinkle explores new efforts to help reduce this backlog, which has grown during the coronavirus pandemic.
I'm at San Antonio State Hospital. It's giving me insight. It's giving me time to reflect. It's giving me time to judge myself, time to think about my past, everything I've done, try to work on the future. it's extremely important to stay on medication because it helps me, it helps take the edge off. It helps keep me stabilized. We've been having therapy for about 4 or 5 months already. And that's been extremely beneficial to my mental health.
When we talked to your mother originally, we kind of talked about the time before when you were going between jail and a state hospital and kind of back and forth.
They'll say you're competent and competent, competent and competent, send you back and forth to jail and the psych ward back and forth like purgatory. It's a loophole.
This is a meeting of the Joint Committee on Access and Forensic Services.
Notable here, the wait list, we did see in December, it did get over the 1,500 mark.
Also, the average length of time waiting is at an all-time high, which is up from our pre-COVID level of 70 days in March.
Why has the pandemic worsened this issue?
There's not as many personnel and many times to take care of people and to address their needs. There's a real slowdown in the court system, which is how people are directed to state hospitals. Our concern at Texas Jail Project is that the legislature thinks that the problems are pretty well solved because they've created a lot of funding for state hospitals to be renovated.
You talk about the legislature. One of the areas we've been looking at is legislation that's been introduced to create a forensic services office for the state that would really look at this data and help really focus on this problem.
We need to throw a lot of energy behind this to make sure that those who are not able to protect themselves and protect their liberties have the ability to speak with a defense attorney in a meaningful way. I have had calls from family members as well as defendants after they've been in jail, talking about their experiences in a psychotic break, in a rubber room, having been stripped of their clothing because of fear that they would hang themselves, being cold and naked in a jail cell while awaiting appropriate mental health care. I'm having a difficult time understanding why things like healthcare are not a priority in this legislative session, particularly in light of the pandemic that we are still in the grips of.
They just opened up May 3rd. We can have visits. So I got a visit not too long ago, like the day before Mother's Day. My mother visited.
What was it like to finally get to see him?
It was wonderful. It really was. It's been over a year.
What do you tell Adon when you leave at the end of a visit?
Think positive. Try to keep perspective. Be hopeful. Change is right around the corner.
To give you an idea of just how much time Adon spent in the hospital, he's been able to write a handful of books, including this one called Chest Perception. It's about his time as a Marine and the mental health challenges he faced after. In it, he writes he hopes it will open eyes and help those who need it. It's part of the holistic approach to treatment that Adon is taking after spending years in the criminal justice system loop. Remember Senator Sarah Eckhart, who we spoke with in the story? Well, it's also a point she wanted to include in her legislation, considering a continuum of care beyond any criminality. And it's also something she wants to revisit when she refiles the legislation in the next regular session in 2023. At the state capitol, Josh Hinkle.
Thank you, Josh. Senator Eckhart also tells us if there's any pushback about the cost of the statewide office to address the backlog, it's easily answered. She plans to push an outpatient approach for mental competency restoration instead of relying so heavily on state hospitals and jails. She says money would be saved in the long run because jail bed days cost taxpayers a lot of money.
Online now, Locked in Limbo, the digital project. Watch the complete series of stories and solutions. Check out our immersive article and data features on this topic, plus resources for you and your loved ones facing mental health challenges and the criminal justice system to get help. And don't forget our weekly investigative podcast, Catalyst, to continue exploring what we've discovered. It's all online now at lockedinlimbo.com.